Why is it that as women, it's very easy to lose ourselves?
I think there's a little bit of the pressure that we as women, we put on ourselves to be perfect at a very early stage. Perfect mother, perfect worker, CEO of this company, but at the same time, I'm the chief operating officer. You know, there's this pressure that we put on ourselves to say the world needs to see the best version of me, and that's not wrong, but how do we get there?
As a children teacher, I have seen your children and I've interacted with them. How do you make sure that these kids are kind, self-aware?
I don't buy into this idea of the woman has to do everything for you. We have to bring up our sons the same way we're bringing up our daughters to contribute to the house. The day and age that we're going into, women are rising as much as men. Do you want to kill somebody else's daughter by telling them to do everything? Fundamentally, one of the things that we need to teach our children is be able to express yourself confidently. There are a lot of managers out there, they say but the way they say it, it's almost believable. When we ask our children to do something, we also have to show that we can do it. I want them to see examples of me reading in order for them to know that reading can be fun.
If there's something you would tell your younger self as a new mom, what will it be? Welcome again to another episode of the Identity Podcast. My name is Mo. I'm always your host, and today's guest is someone that I truly admire. I admire her because she is somebody that has given me the she has shown me what possibility looks like. I was telling her that when I came into the UK, I used to observe her when she is hosting maybe a special program in church. And, the way she talks, the way she carries herself, the way she, makes the conversation interesting. And also we serve together in the children's church. So I've had a lot of time to understudy her, even though she doesn't know this. So she is really somebody that has a calm confidence, but also she's like she's always like doing like the baby girl stuff. She's always looking so beautiful, baby girl for life. She's just a woman that loves being a woman. There's some women that, you can tell they don't even know what they are doing. I mean, we don't all know what we are doing, but there's some people that really love to be a woman, and they make it like you will know that I'm a woman, and you should enjoy yourself being a woman, and she's one of that. So please, welcome with me to the podcast, Mrs. Mo Ajibola.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I thank you for the warm welcome and for those few words. Honestly, I am so blown away, and I love the Identity Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do.
Oh, thank you.
Because I love what you're doing on this podcast. You're showing us that it is good to have your own identity. And I know you're going through different phases, and I've seen that from when you first started. And thank you for that warm welcome. I have to say, I admire you. I admire your confidence. There's going to be a lot of girl fun in here today, so bear with me.
See, she's a woman's woman.
But I love that you're not afraid to be yourself. You have this quiet boldness about you that it's not loud. And I think sometimes confidence doesn't have to be loud. But you're also able to step into wherever you need to be and make a difference. And that is truly a power.
My head is swelling. I should be the one saying all of this. You're my guest.
You know how much I admire Muturayo. I just love the way you carry yourself.
Honestly,
I love the way you carry yourself. That you carry yourself as an individual, as a professional, and also as a children's teacher. I don't know how you do this children's teacher thing, man.
No, I'm learning from you as well. So can you just tell us about yourself, who you are,
who am I? That's a very interesting question. Who am I? I have never thought about who I am. I think I've always thought about who I'm becoming.
Okay.
I think I'm a person that I love life. I think I do love a bit of baby girl life. I'm not gonna lie. I'm learning to live life to the fullest. I'm learning to love myself again. I'm learning to be the best version of myself for everyone around me. And I'm also learning to see the best in everyone. So outside of that, I'm also growing my relationship with God. I think that's fundamental. at the stage where I am right now in my life, as well as trying to be a mother, trying to be a wife, and also trying to still juggle everything
And
with
to
a
be a
career.
boss lady.
And to be a boss lady.
Hey.
To be a boss lady, indeed.
Oh, nice, nice. So this baby girl, this soft life that you always, throw on our faces here and there. Is it something that you've always had? Like, is that how you were growing up, or is it something you just became intentional about? Like,
It's not something I don't think I've always been like a baby girl, but the idea of a baby girl was something I cultivated when I started to learn more about myself and start to regulate myself through emotional intelligence. I realized that me trying to dull myself is not doing anyone any favors. It's about that self-awareness, understanding what makes me tick, what makes me happy, and also how do I project myself onto people. Because I think in the past I've made a lot of mistakes in terms of who I am and trying to be very one-dimensional. Okay, this is the way you want me to be, this is the way I'm going to be. I'm going to be clingy, I'm going to be, tell you the truth without being balancing it with a little bit of emotion with it. So I think in the last couple of years, I've learned to be, because also I'm growing myself as a leader. And as a leader, you can't just go around just imposing yourself on other people. You need to be aware of who you are. You have to have your own emotional cues, and also recognizing that emotion in others, and also building that social relationship. So I think my idea of a baby girl life is about how I'm developing as a person. I don't just want to be one-dimensional. I'm trying to be multi-dimensional now without breaking myself, but also being grounded in my own identity of who God has made me. Because I think fundamentally, growing up, that wasn't something I was always strong about. It's something I've had to learn. I've had to really listen to God and say, who am I? Not from the world's perspective, from the person that God has created me. One of my favorite verses is always Jeremiah 29:11. And that to me is something that God has really used to show me who I am. For I know, what plans I have for you. I never thought God had plans for me. I'm just like, this ugly girl. But I realized that actually ugly is just a word that we give to people that we don't know. Someone might not have all the physical attributes, but when you look through their heart, there's always something to be admired about somebody else. Whether they're Naomi Campbell or not, there's always something that you can connect to with people. And my baby girl life is where I really want to see women elevated. I want to see what we can do as a nation, as a group of people, and use that to influence the nation. So I love makeup, I love hair, I love all the shopping. I mean, if you go into my closet now, it's overflowing. But I think at the core of that is also seeing how women can change the world.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And recently I've been seeing your WhatsApp status, and I think it was the beginning of the year when you said you wanted to read more books.
Yeah.
You're a book person. You like to read.
I'm not a book person.
Okay.
I'm cultivating to be a book person.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to, and I think this is part of, trying to reinvent myself, because I think at every stage in our life we need to reinvent ourselves so that we're not the same. And I realized that since I finished uni and I started working, I wasn't reading. The only reading I was reading in relation to my work or to my degree,
like training,
and my brain was just getting dull. And also I'm trying to fight this I don't even want evil of social media and saying on social media consistently. That's why I'm building my reading habits. I don't think I'm necessarily, it's not something that I like to do, but it's something I want to do. Because I realize that when I read, I feel more intelligent. It's like exercising.
Yeah.
I'm exercising my brain, and all of a sudden I have all this problem solving, all these ways of thinking going on in my head.
Yeah.
I love that for me. Whether I do it consistently is another thing, but it's something that I am intentionally wanting to do now, because I'm seeing the benefits that when I read, no matter what I read, as long as it's not in relation to what I'm doing every day, that I go out and I feel like I'm more eloquent. I feel like there's this confidence coming to me when I read. So that's one of the reasons that I read and trying to build my reading habit. And that's why I would also encourage everyone to read, because you gain either you're getting new vocabulary or you're gaining an insight about something else. I like a lot of historical dramas as well, and and I'm kind of like a little bit biased now. I'm reading a lot of Black writers, so again this comes to the baby girl life, and I love the history of, how we Black people have come to be. And that gives me a lot of hope. I'm trying to move away from that now because I think I've got enough of it. But at the core of it, it's still reading to improve myself, reading to express myself more eloquently, and just reading because it's a fun thing to do. And I want to, without wanting to sound, like I'm, imposing something on my children, I want them to see examples of me reading in order for them to know that reading can be fun. Because sometimes I think when we ask our children to do something, we also have to show that we can do it.
We can do it,
and that's the difficult part of it.
So how is adulting for you? How is adulting going? With work and life, being a mom, being a children's teacher?
It's not easy. I mean, there are a lot of teenagers nowadays, and you say, I want to grow up, and, don't talk to me this way. Adulting is paying bills. Adulting is having to think about other people. Adulting is regulating your own emotions before you talk. Adulting is realizing that you are somebody's baby girl and you kind of like can't talk to them anyhow, and you have to love them regardless as well. So I think adulting has a lot of responsibilities, but I've also realized that there is a choice when it comes to adulting.
How so?
Which adult, what type of adult do you want to be? And I think there are various stages in our lives that we have to ask ourselves that. First, when you're dating, when you get married, when you have children, when your children are growing, what kind of adult do you want to be? And I think I'm at a stage now whereby adulting is about trying to bring up my kids to be the best version of themselves while not losing myself in the process.
Why do you think women lose themselves? Because it's really, for me, I think it is easy to lose yourself because I've just given birth.
Yeah.
Not just, but you know what I mean. And I'm like, some days I'm like all consumed with everything I want to do. Like I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, some days I look at the mirror, I'm like, why am I like this? So why is it that as women, it's very easy to, lose ourselves if we don't intentionally?
I think that's a very, very good question. I think there's a little bit of the pressure that we as women, we put on ourselves to be perfect at a very early stage. Perfect mother, perfect walker, I'm the CEO of this company, but at the same time, I'm the chief operating officer of Southampton Council. There's this pressure that we put on ourselves to say, the world needs to see the best version of me. And that's not wrong, but how do we get there? And I think in the process of getting there, there's so many pressures that we listen to. There's that pressure that we give ourselves. There's the pressure that the society gives us. Like people around us. There's the family society. And dare I say, there's also the church and the religion society pressure that, sister, this, you can't be like this. You just had a baby. You cannot be doing this. You cannot be doing that. So I think that's where the tendency, because of all those voices in our head, we don't ground ourselves enough in who we are. And we tend to listen to those voices. And there is a tendency to then vie away from what is normal to us. One of the ways that I have, I can't speak for everybody, but in my experience, and it may not necessarily be like a Christian idea, and people kind of like say, this is all wishy-washy nowadays, but I love self-care nowadays. I mean, self-care, I'm not really a girly, but I would do my face mask. I would do my journaling. I would read my Bible and soap it out. Scripture, observation, action, and the prayer. I'm going to do all of that. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to exercise. Because that is what keeps me grounded. If you take all of those away from me, even without adding the societal pressures, I'm going to lose myself. So in order for me to stay grounded in that, I have my own routine of how I'm not going to lose myself. It took me a while to really learn that that was an acceptable way of looking after yourself. But once I found that formula, I defend it. I get to a stage where I might tell the kids, no, I want to rest. This is my resting time now. I'm going to the gym. I'm going swimming. Nobody's telling me I can't do that. And I think until we start to prioritize what we want as women, as mothers, as, if you want to be a baby girl, whatever you want to be, you're going to lose yourself in this world. And that's just one thing that I've learned.
Yeah. Do you think that because your children are they are grown, they are older now, it's giving you like a lot of time? How would I not lose myself in this new season of my life, being a new mom?
I love that question. I think that's a very observant question. And I think you are very right. Like, you know, they're slightly, I won't say they're independent, but they're slightly grown up. But one area of my life that I'd never let go, even, I mean, it's been there before I even met my husband, was my swimming. So I'm like, you're not taking this, you people are not taking this away from me. So that was my me time. So whatever is your me time, like, be that be walking, be that be reading, protect it with all your energy. You need to protect it. That's one thing I do for myself. And, you know, your partner will understand. Your children, eventually, they might not like it at first, but them knowing, you know, kids are so annoying at times because the way they will look at you in 5D, the 5D that is the latest thing now, and them seeing you prioritize yourself, give yourself self-care, they know that our mommy is being the best version of herself. And I think for me, it's really important that they see you do that, and you do that genuinely for yourself, not for others. So I think in relation to your question is about prioritizing your me time.
What makes me happy?
What makes you happy? It could sometimes it might not even be exercise. It might just be dancing to, you know, gospel music or whatever you want to dance to, or, you know, you just want to dig into this verse in the Bible and really understand it, or it could be I just want to meet my friends for coffee.
Yeah.
And have a chat about random stuff. You know, we women, we talked about, you know, so many things. Release some of those energy to your friends and use that as an outlet. Because when the danger is also when we bottle everything up and then all of a sudden it explodes. It's kind of like, but you're a Christian auntie now. How can you be doing this?
So whatever makes you happy in different seasons of your life, try and protect it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Now, I always tell my husband that I could listen to you all day talk about parenting. And it's not just because you talk about it, it's also because as a children teacher, I have seen your children. I've worked with them, I've interacted with them, and they're so kind, they're so thoughtful, they're so helpful, and I'm like, you must be doing something right, you know. So what is it? How do you combine all of this and make sure that these kids are, you know, thoughtful, they're kind, they're, you know, self-aware, they just know who they are?
Oh, thank you for that very for your kind words. I really appreciate that because sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing it. I myself, I'm a work in progress. So imagine someone that is a work in progress now parenting. I think there are three fundamental things that I kind of like hold very dearly when it comes to bringing children up. The first thing is always bringing them up in the way of the Lord. Train your child in the way they should go, and when they grow up, you know, they will not depart from it. So before they could even talk, we started reading the Bible, and I'm not the prayer warrior in our house. I'm not even going to lie about that. But there is something about that consistency that I maintain. You know, my husband would pray, and they always they kind of see the way he prays, so they kind of pick that up naturally. But I also add some jara to it, and I say, you know, what are your prayers for today? So every year we have their prayer points. They have their own prayer points that they need to bear in mind, and whichever way they want to pray it. So, every day, ideally, but I'm not going to say that they pray every day, but I know that they pray. The frequency of it, I'm not sure, because sometimes I'll just say, go upstairs, go and pray before you sleep. And I know they do, but whether or not they pray for 1 hour or 1 minute, I'm not too sure. So I think fundamentally, even, you know, before they could talk, we started signaling that, so Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through God who strengthens me. You know, we before they could even say anything, they know how to kind of like signal to it. So that was one thing that really helped them from a very early age. The second thing, and I'm not going to take credit for this, I think it's a joint credit between my husband and I, is it's a reflection of the relationship that we have. From a very early stage, I've always put respect at the heart of my relationship and love. And My husband didn't like that at first. Like, his ego, we're not allowed him to say this small girl be telling me about respect. And I think respect is a mutual thing. You respect your children will respect you. One is, I do shout. I'm a shouter. I'm not going to lie about that. But one thing I'm trying to control is be aware of the emotions behind that shouting. So unless something is dangerous or I feel like dividing away, I try to keep a calm voice. And that really helps them. But at the same time, I don't shout at my husband. I don't let him shout at me. So they know that when they're coming into our presence or when there is a conflict, there won't be any, shouting about that. So I think that helps them to regulate themselves as well. So that when they encounter things like that, they can almost see the way it's being done at home.
Yeah.
And I think the third thing that I wouldn't say always work, but it's the best way that we do it at the moment is the type of parenting that we use. It's kind of like, it's not so much about, I tell you what to do, go away and do it. There is this, especially as they're getting older as well, there is a bit of, rather than parent-child, there is a little bit of us trying to understand where they're coming from and active listening and trying to involve them in decisions. It's not always easy because, I'm like, what is this 10-year-old going to tell me about life and what they're going? But one thing I found is respecting their ideas, regardless of whether they're right or wrong, it actually helps them to build the strength to really analyze that situation themselves. But if everything they say, I'm like, that's rubbish, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to destroy their confidence.
Yeah.
And sometimes they tell me a lot of rubbish stuff that I'm just like, but I want to build it up in them to know that when they say something, say it with confidence. There's some people out there, there are a lot of managers out there, they say BS, but the way they say it, it's almost believable.
Yes.
And I think that fundamentally is one of the things that we need to teach our children is be able to express yourself confidently.
Definitely.
And one thing I'm trying to model is I'll try to correct them in things like, okay, have you thought about this, rather than dismissing them altogether. So I think to summarize is about making sure they're building that relationship we got at a very early age, the relationship between my husband and I, and just establishing boundaries within the house.
So good. So good. So what would you say has influenced your parenting style? I know you've talked about the Bible. Are there books that you read? Did you go for counseling? Or is it just all of the things that you've mentioned?
I think it's all of the things I've mentioned, and I think there is, maybe this is more of a sign of the times that we're in and the time of my life that I'm in as well, is a lot of self-reflection. Because the way that we were brought up and the way that we need to bring our children up now, they're completely different. When our parents were doing the, I say, I say something and you don't disagree with it. Petrol was £1.50 per litre.
Everything is changed
There
now.
wasn't social media and Facebook. There wasn't Iran war and all of that. There was a little bit of stability. But now there is so much instability in the world that I feel like we need to equip our children better. We need to be able to give them that skills. If you're giving your children the skills at the age of 16, it's too late.
Yeah.
We need to equip them with that problem solving, with that technology and coding and, conflicts management and emotional intelligence and, a lot of things. It's not just about learning maths and English. Anyone can learn maths and English and do your algebra and do your, pronouns and all of that.
Yeah.
But life skills is what really differentiate the true leaders in the future. How you apply that and how you handle that as a child would really determine what kind of adult you go on to be. So I think for me is reflecting on my own experiences and where I am now and looking at what might be needed for the future. I think that's where I'm trying to bridge that gap. I wouldn't say I'm doing it,
No, you are. You're definitely.
I'm just trying a different formula here.
Well, you're doing absolutely well, because I'm looking at, now that I've become a mom, I'm looking at all of the decisions I have to make every day. Do I sleep now? Do
Yeah.
I pump? Do
Yeah.
I, should I take this child out for a walk? And should I put my phone down? I want to put my phone down.
Yeah.
But I want to catch up with the world.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about all the hard work and all the intentionality that goes with all the intentionality that goes into being a parent. And I'm like, if there's a child doing absolutely well, it means the parents are doing
Yeah.
a lot of work,
Yeah.
like a lot. And your boys, I think I've said it so many times, they are so respectful. They're so respectful. I remember one experience I taught them in class, and when I finished teaching, because naturally we'll clean the class
Yeah.
to make sure it's tidy. Before I even started doing anything, both of them walked up to me and said, "Auntie, can I help you?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah. And then they went to get the broom and the packer, and all the other children joined them as well. But again, that's not just where the story ends. Guys, she came up and she's like, okay, so you guys are cleaning. So, finish cleaning, finish helping out and make sure you tidy everything, and I'll just be waiting for you downstairs.
Yeah.
Some parents, and I'm not saying that those parents are doing it wrongly, but I think the way that you said it that day, to me, it felt like it was very important that they helped. Like that they tidy up before coming there. Like you even though maybe, I don't know, maybe you were rushing them that day, but you were not going to rush them into tidying up the church and helping, making sure that they tidy and then come. So I'm like, you're really doing a good job. You're raising boys, and you know that culturally, traditionally, in the time past, boys were he's a boy, leave him. He's a boy. Can't cook, he's a boy, can't tidy. Is it something you thought about and you're like, I must make sure that my boys can do this?
I mean, that's a very, that's very interesting. I've never thought about it like that. I think for one thing, and this might be my own laziness, so forgive me, but one thing I believe is they get to a certain stage in life whereby children needs to get some sort of responsibility. I'm not going to go around tidying your toys for you when you're 7, 8. You know, you're the one that played with those toys, and we know where those toys are going to go. You're going to put it back. I'm not here to be, and I always say this to my children, and it might sound mean, sorry, viewers, but I'm not your slave. We are not going to slave. We're going to serve each other like Jesus was serving, but I'm not going to be a slave for you. If you're using something, you're going to put it back. It kind of like when they finish eating, tidy where you've eaten. I mean, one thing we don't realize sometimes as Africans is we don't have to put cutting wool over our children, because these are some of the things they do naturally at school. When they're at school, you don't have the dinner lady coming and telling them to, helping them pack their plates away. So why should I be doing that at home? When they're in class and they put out their coats and, especially when they're in preschool, even their own classes, they will tuck their chairs in. So why should I come to church and all of a sudden you just leave everything the way it is? I don't buy into that. One, because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. And secondly, because they need to learn responsibility. When you go somewhere and that place is neat, you leave it as you've met it. Nobody is your slave here to pack after you. And that's not something that I only do outside. I do it in the house as well. If you're eating and you throw all the food on the floor, you're going to go and take the dustpan and brush and pack it up. I'll later come and spray it down for you and mop it. But that initial cleaning, you're going to do it because you made the mess. Unless you're not feeling well, you're going to clean it. One of the other things that really influenced me in terms of the way I bring up the boys is looking at the type of man that their father is. I'm not saying they have to be like their father, but I see some really good traits in him. And, my mother-in-law is an amazing person, and the way that he's brought them up. I don't buy into this idea of the woman has to do everything for you. I mean, even back in their days, it was probably easier. But the day and age that we're going into, women are rising as much as men nowadays. Are you going to marry a woman? I mean, I'm only probably giving them another 20 years or so. And 20 years go really quickly. that another woman is going to be there, and do you want to kill somebody else's daughter by telling them to do everything? We have to bring up our sons the same way we're bringing up our daughters to contribute to the house. You know, be the head of the house, but also be responsible. One thing we've failed to realize sometimes is leadership comes with serving.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of, oh, I'm the man of the house, I'm just going to sit down and you're just going to, I'll bring food for you, but boy, you're going to tell me thank you for that food.
Yeah.
I'm not just here to, to be a slave to you. And I teach the children that as well. If I'm cooking for you, you're going to say thank you, because I'm not here to just be a slave to you.
Yeah.
We're going to respect each other. If you eat it and you tidy up, and I'm going to say, oh, thank you, or thank you for saying thank you. I really appreciate that that you took the time to eat that food and you like it. And sometimes I get very raw feedback. Mommy, that food was just rubbish. So a part of me is teaching them to, one, try to be better than the type of father that their father was, but also be responsible for the world that they're about to enter. Nobody, no girl in 20 years' time is going to go around your room and be picking boxes. Who's going to be doing that? No. So you need to tidy up after yourself. You need to look good. You need to look clean. You need to know that you're changing your bed sheets regularly. You need to know that you're not just going to be putting all your stuff on the floor as a guy.
Yeah.
And teaching them that at the age of 16 is a bit too late.
It is.
So,
and you're doing a good job. I probably said that all my interviews, because I reflect on a lot of things, and because I'm a children teacher, I try as much as possible to give feedback to the parents.
Yeah.
So when they're doing good, when they're a little bit, being naughty, and I try as much as possible to give, because sometimes parents are already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They're already tired.
We don't have any help here. Like, some of us, when we were growing up, you had all these cousins and you have like a house help, you have someone cooking, someone cleaning for you, someone washing the cars. We don't have that here. You pay for it.
Definitely. And if I'm teaching them in the church, I want to make sure that I'm able to, give feedback to the parents. Like, if they're doing good, you're actually, your child is doing well.
Yeah.
And back in Nigeria or back in Africa or in the time past, they say it takes a village to take it. I feel like I'm that village for the children church.
Yeah.
I take it upon myself because I feel like most parents are doing a lot of work. They are working shifts. They are doing this. They are making sure that they get food and everything. And if I can do my part as a children teacher to just give that feedback to say, oh, your child has become, a little bit distracted nowadays. Is it something you are doing at home? Just keep an eye on him. I think that, I'm just contributing my own.
I love that. And I think that idea of the village is something that I would love to see us bring it back even stronger as a community. I think some of us, because we're here now, it's almost like, this is my child, and maybe for some reason we've wrapped cotton wool around them that they cannot do certain things. And when we give that feedback as teachers, I expect them to actually be a little bit more interested. But I find that there are certain situations that the parents are a little bit nonchalant about it. Either because they're busy, like you said, or they just see that this is church, this is not school. It's only school feedback that I'm going to take more, I'm going to be more interested in, or be more interested, or take more seriously. And I think that community, I love the idea of that community. I was brought up, although my own community was my family, but being able to actually bring up children in our own community and having that role models that can actually keep an eye on them in church, but also instill values in them. I think that's something that is valuable and we overlook because, I grew up in a single mother. My mom is a single mom, and sometimes as a child growing up, especially when you start getting to that middle ages and your teens, you need that support that you probably might not even get from a single parent. And that's where I think the community has a lot of work to do. Not as a lot, because I don't want to put the burden on the community, but it would be good for the community to step up where we see children misbehaving, or they're not quite getting there. And those signs, a lot of us, we kind of think it's when they're 16 that they pick up those things. They start from the age of 10, 11 when they start doing things. It's not when they're 16 that all of a sudden they start doing crazy stuff. They've already started building those skills. Maybe something is happening that they have to defend themselves and they have no one to talk to. But if we can be safe spaces for those children, I think that would be really helpful.
Definitely, yeah. I remember one of the children telling me that they have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
How old were they?
10.
Okay, I think 10 is a bit too young. I mean,
does your parent know about this? And it's like, no, they don't. I say, so if your parent don't know about it, don't you think it's not right?
Yeah.
So what do you do? It's like, oh, we just call ourselves, and like, no, that's not good.
I agree with that to a large extent, but I think this is where I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
I'm not saying they should have girlfriend at the age of 10, but at the age of 16 and slightly older, when they're starting to get that feeling of I like this girl likes me, I think my husband would disagree with this as well. But that is where that sex talk starts to come in about how your body is reacting to this, why it's doing this, rather than, I'm not saying they should have the girlfriend, but it's more about trying to give them the tools to express themselves with girls as well, without it getting sexual and without you. I mean, they shouldn't be using phone and doing phone talking anyway, but it's about trying to, because I think at that age it's more about friendship. I might be naive.
Yes.
But it's about cultivating that friendship rather than saying this is my girlfriend, because I think when we say girlfriend, sometimes
it has a meaning to it.
Exactly.
And they know.
They know it has they shouldn't, and I think that's where the innocence kind of will start to lose them at a very early age. But if there is a way, I don't know this, I don't know how this would happen, because my son and girls, and I'm facing that pressure at the moment. I'm not even sure I know how to brace it, but I just feel like deviating, or trying to not deviate away from it, but trying to not focus on the girlfriend but the feelings, and helping them to manage those emotions might be good.
Of course.
I don't know how we're going to do that.
No. I think that there is a way, because I remember back in Nigeria, I used to have a mentor, and we used to do something called Safe Sexuality for Children. And there was one program that we did. We separated the boys and the girls, and then we talked about how they're feeling and how it is normal sometimes to feel a certain way, even though they are 10, 12, 13.
I think you should do that for us, because I wouldn't know how to embrace that kind of conversation.
Oh, I think I'm very much interested in this kind of conversations, because I'm like, how do you feel when you see a girl that you like? In the beginning they were all shy and everything, and I'm like, you are boys. The way you feel is quite different from the way girls feel. Sometimes just seeing somebody, you're already blushing. You already feel. You already
I mean, my son sees this girl and they start running circles around. I'm just like, kind of nonsense is this? I mean, you're barely 10 and you just have someone now, all of a sudden you lose yourself.
I mean, the idea is you have those feelings.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to act on those feelings.
Yeah.
So those feelings are there because God gave you
what do you now do when those feelings come?
So we taught them to first acknowledge that those feelings are okay. They're natural feeling that you feel, but that you cannot act on those feelings because you're still young. But you can be their friends.
I really like that.
You can if you like a certain person at this, you can tell them, I like you.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm not acting on anything. Can you be my friend?
I really like that.
Instead of,
I really like that.
I know that's what we did when in Nigeria back then. We did a lot of work around safe sexuality, helping children know that. So because we now realize that we're not going to shout them down, it's not going to solve any problem. So you shouldn't have a boyfriend. Yes, you should not have a boyfriend, you should not have a girlfriend, but we know you have a feeling. And I think that parents would also be lying to themselves or lying to their children to say that when they were young, they didn't have feeling, they didn't have crush.
We all like to do that. Who wants to be opening up about your first crush for yourself?
Yeah, and I think that's where we started the conversation from. Like, how many of you have crushes? And they were like,
Yeah.
And I think because it wasn't a church setting, it
Yeah.
wasn't a school setting.
Yeah,
They were
it was kind of
more.
like they were open to
They were
it.
more open to
I
it.
would love
You
that to
know.
happen because I just feel like, I mean, we're kidding ourselves if we say we don't know what that these children know what sex is. There's YouTube. We didn't even have YouTube in our
Yeah,
days, and we
yeah.
knew what it was at a very early age. So if we're saying these kids don't know what it is, I think one of us is deceiving ourselves. Either they're deceiving us or we are deceiving ourselves. So
Yeah.
I think that approach that you've just described is
Definitely.
definitely a way
Yeah.
to kind of like break the mold. Yeah.
We need to ask them, what do you know?
Yeah.
What do you know? What do you think feelings are?
That's an area I'm still really scared of, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Honestly, I am so scared of it. Like I can help them with everything else in life, but I think when it comes to that area, because I didn't have a good experience of it growing up, so I don't know how to undo it. And it's not an area that I've necessarily reflect on because I'm married. I don't need to be reflecting on such things, but I was saying to my partner the other time and said, when are we going to start the sex talk with this boy? She was like, you can do it. Do you not think it's a little bit too early? But I know that they know that something is happening. You know?
And sometimes they teach them in school.
They do teach them in school. They teach them pants in
My
school.
own perspective about sex education is that it should start from the house.
Yeah.
I really think that school should leave those sex education to the parents and stop teaching them something
That's
that's
a
not
very interesting
control.
perspective, yeah.
Because sometimes the teaching that they get, I mean, I don't have an adult child yet, but I've heard people talk about it to say some of the things that they teach them is not what I want them to know.
Right, okay.
So I would rather
Teach
you
them at
leave
home.
the sex education to me, or you invite me to the school, you invite the parents to the school with their children on a particular day and say,
I really like that approach.
and really say, oh, today we are talking about sex education, but it would be the parent with their children in the school
I love that approach.
talking about it. That's what I think, because
I think that's a brilliant
I don't want the
approach.
curriculum to teach my children what sex education is.
I really love that approach. I've never thought about it like that. And I think you're really right about that sex education should start from home.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I think what they teach them at school is very fundamentally different from the way that we would teach them at home.
Exactly.
And what they are saying. Because sometimes some of them are saying mom and dad, and then they go to school, they tell them something else. And that may not be what we want to tell them about love.
Yeah.
But if they are grounded in what they know at home, that would not dominate their sense of what that should look like.
Yeah. I think it's very important.
Tonight.
And I was scrolling on Instagram, and there was this woman that was talking about the fact that she and her husband wanted their children to learn another language, Spanish. So they started using, is it Duolingo or something, one app like that to teach the children. And then one of the days, the boy walks up to the mom and say, some image come, like when the advertising on the screen, when they're advertising, and one of the image was one I don't want to say this. It's the boy.
Yeah.
No, the woman was sucking.
Okay.
On the man's.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're young children. They're just trying to learn Spanish, but there's an ad that came through, and they saw it.
Yeah.
And the child was
curious.
open enough to say, Mom, this is the second time it's happening.
Yeah.
It happened like 1 year ago, and now I'm seeing it again. What does it mean?
Yeah.
So I really think that children, parents should,
I like that approach. I'm going to take it away and, ruminate on it, because I think you're very right in terms of that needs to start from home.
Yeah.
I just wonder sometimes, and this is not a judgment on anyone, if anything is a judgment on me, myself, that because we're so religious about certain things, we don't feel like it should be discussed, which is almost repeating the mistakes our parents made.
Yeah.
That is a sacred, and you should not have sex before marriage, you should not have sex at all if possible.
Yeah.
That because of that, we almost believe that our children are not going to do that.
Yeah.
And therefore that prevents us from having that open conversation that is not just about the sex before marriage, but actually what do you do in that space and in that period.
Yes.
So,
I think we should be having these conversations.
Yeah.
I think there was a time that I wanted us to discuss it in church, but I'm like, I really want the parents to be the one to do this.
You've challenged me. You've really, really challenged me.
Because I was like,
yeah,
I could do a safe sexuality session in church for the children.
You've really challenged. I know they've done it for the teenagers, because I kind of like. I think that we've actually done it for the children as well. I remember, but it wasn't in depth. And I think what you've said about that being done starting from home, maybe something that we all need to own in a little bit more. Because sometimes we just put all this expectation on other people and think they're going to do it better. And we bury our heads in the sand and think that, they're going to do better justice to it. But actually, it coming from home, it carries more weight and they can see it.
Yeah.
The way it works as well. I'm not saying you're going to open your...
No.
But at least they can see when two people are discussing it from their perspective. You've really challenged me. I like that. I love that.
Let's move to discipline. How do you discipline your children? Is it conversational or is it consequences or is it basbos?
Basbos. I think I try to discipline the heart before I discipline the action. So I always say to them, like, how do you feel doing this to other person? Because I want them to, one, reflect on their own action and then reflect on how that affects the other person. It hasn't always been successful, but I feel like a lot of the time it makes more sense to them. I think it's only as a matter of last resort, and I try not to do it often, whereby I wouldn't hit them, but I will correct them in love. And I realized that no matter how much I do that, things don't happen. The way I physically discipline them is I'll say, go and face the wall. And that to them is an unbelievable level of boredom, because they're going to face that wall and sometimes I might even leave them there for 10, 15 minutes. Face the wall. I don't want you looking at anybody else. Face the wall and do whatever you want to do. And that is my form of physical discipline, and they don't like that. So in a way, looking at the action and speaking to the action before I discipline the person in front of me. And we also have boundaries in terms of what they can and shouldn't do. Like, one thing I always say to them is, you're a brother's keeper. Because unfortunately, you're not going to have any more brothers.
Are you sure about that?
So you need to look after your brother. And, if you're not looking after your brother and you're making him upset, and not just your brother, but, anyone around you, imagine how they're feeling. Imagine how you feel when when someone does that to you. And I'm really proud that somehow that has managed to help them, not just in the house, but, outside of the house as well. Because I remember when my second son was in, I think, year R or year reception or year 1, and there was an issue at school whereby one of his friends was getting bullied. And he was able to actually stand in. And when he was telling me, I used to say to him that, make sure you're your brother's keeper. And he didn't just take that as his own brother, but also his friend. So when it comes to discipline, I try to look at their hearts and I try to help them to really see that. We're not super religious, and so I'm going to be saying everything has to be done Christianese, but I always say to them that, what would Jesus do? How would Jesus feel about you if you did something like this, if you did something wrong? I think one stage they're at now is they fight a lot, and that really scares me. But apparently it's a brother thing and they get over it, but I still make them reflect on what they've done. The other way that, I discipline them, and there's no right or wrong on this one, but if they take things and they haven't told me, is I correct the action before I shout at them.
Okay.
So recently I bought like polo sweets, and I left it on my desk, and I could tell that they were going to take it. And I say, had you asked me, I probably would have given you one each. But now that you decided that you're going to go and take it without telling me, that's stealing and that's disobedience. And therefore you don't get to have any of it anymore.
Okay, so
it's
that's
about
consequence.
Yeah, that's consequence about helping them to also understand that you can't just do things and be stealing my sweets and I'm going to give it all to you. But yeah, that's sort of where
It's
we
been
get
an interesting conversation with
Thank
you. If there's something you would tell your younger self
Oh,
as a new mom, what will it be?
oh, my younger self as a new mom. Gosh. I'll give myself grace and ask God for grace. I think there was a lot of performance as a young mom, whereas I should have focused on relationship with myself, with my children, and with everyone around me. Whereas there was this performance of I wanted people to see me as being the best mom, or I wanted my husband to see me as being the best wife, rather than this is who I am in this season. So, for example, as a new mom, not so new at that time anyway, they was a little bit grown up, but when COVID hit, my son was about 2.5. I didn't realize how young he was at that age. So he wasn't yet 3, he was literally 2.5. And I think the other one was like maybe 3 or so. And one of the things I focused on so much during COVID was trying to please my manager. And I wish in hindsight that I didn't do that because that at the end of the day, it didn't even bring me any benefit. It wasn't like I got a promotion from it. and I just neglected for like the first 6 months of that COVID. I completely neglected my family. I just wanted to focus on this performance at work. I wanted to get this thing done right. And, in hindsight, they were offering the furlough service. Or furlough scheme. I could have taken that and spent some more time with them, building relationships. Instead, I was laser focused on, I know I have to get this thing done. It didn't bring me anything. So I think in hindsight, as a young mom, I probably would have focused on relationship with my children rather than performance. And that might just be career related, mostly, but I think it still rings true for even me as myself. I was focused on performance rather than, okay, this is where we are as a family. What can we do from here? Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think as a mom, no, as a woman, you can have it all?
Oh, can you have it all as a woman? Oh, that's a very good question. Thank you for that. Can you have it all as a woman? Ah, man. Why do I take that? Do I go religious with this or do I go Christianese on you? Can you have it all as a woman? I think having it all as a woman really depends on the type of woman that you are. I think having it all as a woman, and maybe discussion for another time. I'm not saying everyone has to be married. But I think having it all as a woman also depends on your support network.
Okay.
Your family, your partner. How are you grounding yourself in the moment, and how are you staying true to yourself? And I think having it as a woman also depends on your definition of having it. There's some people that they are satisfied where they are, and that 96% satisfaction is having it. Whereas for some people, it's absolutely, I have to be the CEO of a £10 billion country, of a £10 billion business or company. That's what having it all means. Whereas for me, I think having it all is just about balance. Are you getting the best out of me at work? Are you getting the best out of me as a mom? And am I presenting my best self to the world, still being true to who I am? And if you can get all of those 3 things, as well as, your spirituality, if you can get those 4 things in balance, that to me is a sign of having it all, rather than everything has to be out of kilter, like, I'm the CEO, whereas my husband is not getting the best version of me, or my children is getting everything of me, but I don't have any ambitions for my own career. So I think for me, there's just that balance that, okay, is everything in balance here? And am I checking that? Is that something that is regularly? And I think that's where kind of that it can be a bit of imbalance, which would then suggest that you can't have it all. But I think it's possible to have it all in balance without everything being at 100%.
That's an interesting way of of saying it.
Thank you.
That's an interesting because I'm like, now that I'm on maternity leave, I'm like, I don't think I have any ambition anymore. I mean, I have so many things I want to do, but the fact that I'm a mom, I just feel like this is where I want to be. I just want to be with my baby. I just want to nurture this girl. I just want to give my all. But then I know that there's reality coming. I have to go back to work.
Yeah.
I have to, I have to still be the best version of myself at work, best version of myself to my child.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we really have it all? Somebody once said that, you can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, and I think when you said that, what came to my mind is also there are different seasons. We're all in different seasons. As you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier on, my children, they might be slightly older now, but I made a lot of sacrifice, and I'm still making a lot of sacrifice
Yeah.
in terms of there is a certain period whereby I just want to be there with them. I just want to be able to shape them. There's going to come a time whereby they're not going to be around. What am I
Yeah.
going to be holding on to then? And I want to be able to prepare myself and stand myself in a good stead that my life doesn't just doesn't just fall down because they're no longer there, and I haven't put myself into the best footing to be able to continue with my life. So I think what you're saying that yes, we can have it all, but not have it all at the same time. That really rings true. It rings true because we're all in different seasons. Some
Definitely.
people that are having it all, they're probably, maybe they have all their support network within 1 minute away, or then maybe their husband has like 5 cars and has a house in Dubai, and all of these fantasies that I have.
Definitely, they have housemaids, they have
Exactly,
drivers,
and,
they have cooks,
they have people doing their nails, and they have someone on their, on their pedicure, and they're shopping at Selfridges, but it's about the different phase. Are they doing that when they have twins and they have all of these people around? And I think something has got to give as well, even when you're having it all. But as long as everything is almost in balance, to me, that just feels like, yes, I am having it all. My mental health is stable, and my family is good, my spiritual life is good. Anything else is a bonus.
Wow, interesting. There's one answer that you gave. I think we recently we had the Women's Week, and you were on the panel, and somebody asked a question of how do we ensure that we don't lord our own decision over our children. And I think I love the answer that you gave, but I can't remember the details. But if you were to answer that question again, how do we make sure that we don't we want to respect the choices that our children make, but we also don't want them to make the wrong choices?
Yeah.
How do we do
I
that?
can't remember the exact question, how I exactly answer that question, but I think for me it's also about giving our children the tools and the techniques to be able to make the right decision. I think when some of us were growing up, our parents made 80% of the decision for us, so we never had the opportunity to test things out and see how it works. Fundamentally, we have to be able to listen to our children and help them shape their ideas without saying, oh, you want to do this? No, you're not allowed to do it. Let them give you the reason why you do it. Explore it further. Okay, if you do this, what are the advantages? What do you see as some of the ways that this could go wrong? Help them think through their ideas. I think fundamentally there are a couple of areas in life that absolute no is no. Something that is going to cause them danger, something that is going to cause danger to people around them. Also, if there's anything that is going to take their spirituality away, those are sort of areas whereby my no is a no. You have to do this. But when it comes to other decisions in life, I guide them. And one of the things that I also think helps children is at a very early age, we have to allow them to fail. Allow them to know what failure is. As an adult, I was so scared of failing. I felt like the world would come to an end if I failed.
I think it's an African thing. Maybe.
But I didn't realize that there's some people around me that, they don't fail, they bounce back. But because I've taken this whole thing as if I failed, the whole world is going to come to an end. that made me scared of trying things because I was going to fail. And one thing I'm realizing is that with children, in order to create resilience, you have to allow them to make decisions that sometimes that decision may not even be, it might not be something that leads to success, but what is it teaching them in that process? Because as an adult, they need to be able to bounce back quickly in order for them to be able to make it in life. You can't just fail and then sit down there and mope all day long.
Yeah.
You have to, and that failing as an adult then becomes a problem if they're not allowed to fail as a child. And I think sometimes that's why I kind of bear in mind and try to balance out. I've given you all these reasons, we've talked it through. If you still want to go and do that, okay, go ahead and do it and learn. I think that fundamentally is something that we need to allow our children. I don't want to call it fail, because when we talk about fail, we don't want to see our children fail. But they need to learn that not everything that you do is going to work initially.
Yeah.
And that helps them to problem solve and critical thinking as well. Okay, that didn't work. What didn't work about it? As opposed to I'm too scared to try because I'm going to fail. So when it comes to their ideas, yes, talk it through, yes, but at some point you're just going to allow them to go ahead. And if you fail, what did you learn? Are you going to keep doing the same? I mean, there was that saying of, doing the same thing over and over again. But you failed. What did you learn? What didn't work? Tweak it. Try again. That's how most of the things are done, like Light and all these big people that we see.
Yeah.
They failed and then try again. Penicillin. The lady was trying something else and then discovered penicillin when that failed. So I think there has to be that element of, yes, we've talked this through, but okay, go ahead and do it. Fail, and then let's come back and discuss what the lessons are and how you can get better next time.
Yeah, this has been a beautiful conversation. I'm soaking in everything. I'm like, should we end this? No, we don't. Let's just continue chatting and talking away. Lastly, I'll talk about something that I saw you post today. I screen grabbed it because I'm like, that's so beautiful. And it says, there are women watching you choose yourself and are finally realizing they're allowed to do the same. How did that come about?
I think there are two aspects to that. First is it's a bit personal to me because, as I mentioned earlier on, and I'm not going to labor onto it, I kind of grew up in a single parent household, and for a long time I didn't see my mom choose herself, and as a result that didn't really give me the confidence to choose myself. But when I see that she started making decisions for herself, that empowered me to say I can stand on my own 2 feet and I don't have to rely on someone to be somebody. So that really affected the way that I saw relationships. Relationships wasn't, oh, you're going to come and feed me and you're going to come and provide for me. It was a level playing field because I saw my mom fuse herself and actually, go out and do things that benefit her and her family, but also not lose herself in that process. And I think as children, even as adults, we always look one way or the other. We always come back to the type of parenting and the type of family that grew up around us. I think the universe just works in such a way that one way or the other, you always kind of like the kind of parents that your parents is.
Unless you intentionally
take the good parts and work on the parts that are not so good. So that was what prompted her. My mom is in a season now of her life now whereby she's not just choosing herself, but she's intentionally enjoying that phase of her life. She's old enough now, but she's also saying, I'm old, but I still have the right to enjoy life. And that is so powerful for me.
It is.
To see someone that has been through so much in her life choose herself and intentionally enjoy that phase. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of that, and I think this is quite important, not just to family, is mentorship. In terms of the way we mentor each other in the society, in church, in the workplace. When I started working, I could really count on my fingers the number of black female to an extent. But the moment I start seeing that there were more black females in senior leadership position, oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how much that really changed my perspective on leadership. It made me hungry that if they can do it, surely, I can do it. And I started reaching out to them and say, could you mentor me? What got you there? How do I need to behave about this? And I think that's the power in seeing other people do something, choose themselves, become what you want to become, and actively going after it. If we don't see that, I think a lot of us, for me, I don't think I would have had the chance to dream as big as I could, because I've seen someone do it and I'm like, you? How did you get there? You know, you're here and you're commanding all those people. This is why I always advocate for diversity in a team. If everyone around you is like you, you're not learning. You're not aspiring. But when you see people choose to do different, especially in leadership position, is so powerful. Sorry, I know I've taken it to leadership.
No,
It
is
and
very
I think
important.
that's the inspiration behind the post.
So good, so powerful. Like if I am working on myself, I'm self-regulating, I'm being my most authentic self. It's also not just I'm leaving, but also I'm also giving others permission to be inspired by what I'm doing.
We do. Yes, we do.
It is so powerful. It is powerful.
Your light is not, and you know, the Bible says be the light, and that is one way of being the light. You're working on yourself, but people are looking at you. They're saying,
she can do it.
She can do it. Oh my goodness, surely I can do
that. That's how I felt when we were. That's how I felt when you were like doing all the anchoring in church. You and Sister Esther. I'm like, these women are just multi-talented. I'm like, how can they do all of this while still being spiritual, while showing up for their family, showing up for themselves, you know, Sister Esther, she's running, she's she's in the gym.
Absolutely. As women, we underestimate how much we actually shine the light to other people. You might be doing something very simple and somebody else is looking at it and thinking, wow, so you're doing that? Maybe I can do it.
So good. Good. It's been really, how would I say? I'm looking for the right words. I feel very fulfilled. I feel very honored.
You know what? This podcast has been a dream of mine to come on, and honestly, I so much appreciate. I love what you're doing. I love that you're putting your identity out there and you're really helping some of us really. You're challenging our own identity and helping us to be the best version of ourselves.
But you inspired us. So. Is it two-way thing? You know, you inspired.
It's a symbiotic relationship. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you as a person. I love the way you carry yourself, and you know, you're inspiring as well.
My head is going to
You're really inspiring as well, you know.
Yeah, thank you for being a woman's woman. Like for being
for life.
For being a person that supports other women. I remember the Mother's Day we just finished. I think it was your idea that you give everybody face masks. Was it?
Well, I mean, we can't just go around with our faces not moisturized. I mean, you only have one thing is we only have one life to live. And some people are like, what's all this rubbish that they've started with now? Look after yourself. If you don't look after yourself, no, but if you're waiting for one husband to come and look after you will just be there, you'll be speaking English and you'll just be looking at you.
Oh my God, I love the idea. We just saw the children, you know, handing face masks to their moms, to the women in the church. I'm like, this is Sister Mo in action.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
Maybe another time we'll come talk about another theme.
I think definitely. I would love to come back. I've been blessed and I've been challenged as well on this podcast, and I love that. I think we all need to be challenged.
We all need to be challenged,
in the same position.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Please subscribe. This is one of the podcasts that I have ever listened to, so please subscribe and leave your comments below. And if you want us to come back, by the way, leave a comment there and then she'll see that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you.